Hello and good day to all friends. This is Mochtab Arasti. I'm from the Thales team and today is February 13th, 2026 and I'm here with you. We'll be taking a midterm look at Bitcoin using options market data and the Thales Market Screener tool. We'll review the incoming trades from the past week with a 1-week expiration. Now let's look at the next 2 months and see what information we can gather. Let's dive into the options trades using the Market Screener tool. Alright then, so I've gone ahead and set up those trades from this last Friday, the 6th of September. Up until now, they've been processed in the database for expirations, so let's first take a look at the end of February. On February 27th, the open interest is a positive 34,900 Bitcoin spread across 973 contracts. What does this option result mean? As you can see, it's bearish. It's pointing downward. We have 2 gamma exposures to the downside. The strike prices we're most concerned about for trading are 60,000, 61,000, and 38,000, 40,000, which are quite low. If we move forward to more recent trades, you'll see that the level that was very low before has actually gotten less attention, and now the gamma exposure we have is around 62 and 63. As we go further, this gamma shifts to 73, and here both sides of the chart are now pointing upward. In the most recent trades, the likelihood of movement in either direction has increased. In fact, in these last days, it's even turned bullish. It moved towards 76 for the end. In fact, you can see it becomes bullish in these trades. For example, on February 12th, just yesterday when they entered, it was completely bullish. So at first, fear dominated the market, as you can see. At the very beginning of the week, it was quite bearish, but as we moved forward, you can see the bullish leg keeps rising, and here the outlook becomes bullish for the 76 to 80 range. So from here, we can say that we'll probably see a rebound toward 80,000 by the end of February. For example, we've seen such numbers before, and that well-known CME gap will probably get filled too. Maybe we can make this assumption and move on to March. By the end of March, March 27th, you can see we have a sell situation right at the top. We're getting close with the break-even point at 72 and the short position steps at 81 to 82, the average of the calls that have been sold. So again, we reach that number, and it looks like by the end of March, we'll still be a bit above that 80 to 82 range. Traders didn't notice these. Let's move forward and see if this situation is still holding. In fact, could it even get more bearish? Is it still the same? Actually, in recent days, we've got a gamma at 92. Here, you can see a situation similar to... No, actually a situation similar to a long straddle where above this, it's at 126, and below this, it's at 71. So we need to see... Looking ahead, you see we're getting closer again. For example, today's entries for the end of March are bullish. The outlook is more bullish. You can see the gamma at 92. But if you look at the trades from the start of last week, you'll see that for March, they had set a ceiling around 80, and let's take a look at April. April 2, with 10,000 Bitcoin, is showing us another volatile situation. From the start of the week, the ceiling was 84. You see, at 84, the call goes into loss, and the floor is at 50. They've even pushed the floor lower, so there's been a lot of fear here. Moving forward to recent days, there wasn't much of a difference. Again, you can see the floor is at 49.50 and the ceiling is 79.79. As we move forward, it starts to look more like a call sale, but with a very low volume, only about 430, which has actually set the ceiling at 73.74. So It seems that by the end of February or early March, we'll see a rebound toward 80,000. We might be able to witness that, but after that, we don't really see any evidence of a runaway rally. The upper side of our red curve shows the ceiling, and it doesn't enter a strong profit phase. Once we hit that 80, it seems likely we'll see another move downward. Actually, we might witness it now on the daily chart, but as you can see, the trend is still very much a downward trend. If we see a strong move toward 80 here, we'll look at the RSI on the daily as well. It will make a quick move toward 150% here, and eventually there will be a reaction at the 50% level, and we might see another drop back down. Let's go back again. End of February, and let's look at the volume. Up. 10 Bitcoin? Now 10 Bitcoin isn't enough, 7 Bitcoin. Set it to 50 Bitcoin, let it go higher, 200 Bitcoin, we have 26 trades. With 200 Bitcoin, you can see overall that the movement favors the downside. We have a gamma at 39,000, which is really low. Of course, again, these high volume trades that have come in here are related to that. There was a lot of fear here. If we move forward, you see, the situation improves a bit again in favor of an upward move, but with low volume. That is, from February 12th onward, you can see bullish trades coming in. For example, look here. We have two 300 Bitcoin long calls for 80 and above. This was actually entered on February 12th. Of course, here we also have a 250 Bitcoin long put at 40,000, and if we go back to the beginning of the week. The outlook for the start of the week, let's see, there are a lot of 1,250s, but the volume is really light. We even have some 3,000s. Look, on February 6th, which was that Friday, 3,000 Bitcoin long puts at 40,000 were entered. That's really heavy. Here again, we have 3,000 Bitcoin long puts at 40,000, which was also on February 6th. On February 9th, there were 1,250 Bitcoin long puts at 63. This one has a more reasonable outlook, but you can see that the high volumes in favor of puts have also caused our curve to become so bearish. They had a bearish outlook, and actually, if we look at the weekly from the start of the week, you can see our movement. In fact, yeah, we also saw it moving downward, meaning it actually did go down as well. There's also a kind of fear that's come up, and it's affected traders' positioning. If we want to identify the strategies, look here. This is a strategy that's completely bearish. Completely bearish. Look, it has steps at 41,000, and here it goes into profit, and on this side up to 83. This person starts to take a loss at around the break-even zone of 83 and above. Their profit side is 40,000 and below. So it's very bearish, and again, we see this. This one is the same way. This one too, yeah, 2, 1.5, and if we add it up, you see it's about 7,000 Bitcoin in volume that such a strategy is taken. Okay. We don't have any more. This is the strategy, which, of course, with the total volume. No, what I'm saying is exactly 200, not this strategy. Alright, let's see. This strategy, this one, and this one. Yes, it's a bearish spread. The peak profit is at 65 all the way until the end of February with a volume of 500 Bitcoin. So it sees the downward move going as low as 64 to 65, maybe even 60 to 65. Well, you could say this also has a bullish outlook. You could interpret it that way too. Again, this one is also a spread, but this bearish spread goes down as far as 56, meaning there's an expectation for a drop to 56 by February. Basically, the outlook is... And that's it. We don't have any more strategies, but as you can see, the volumes are high. Unlike that one. What we saw at the beginning on the curve, there's no sign of a potential upward move here. So it's very bearish, and those few heavy trades have tipped the scale. There's really nothing at 38,000, so for us to see a move back toward 80 is unlikely. It's purely based on, it's purely based on what? All the trades that we checked when we moved the slider. Look ahead. This is the recent hour, the recent day's outlook. We need to see, starting from today, for example, the analysis we do for next week. Let's see what happens. Will this bullish outlook continue that we see here? Otherwise, the trades at the start of the week are very bearish, even heading toward 50,000. We need to see how long this bullish sentiment that came in yesterday and today will continue. What matters is that gradually, since timing is important for us, anything that's the most up-to-date and recent has value for us. That's what we're seeing now. For traders, what's important is that after this sharp drop, with this rebound, some of the fear has subsided. There's been a bit of a correction, and in recent days we've seen bullish trades. We can see that those heavy bearish trades were at the start of the week, and is it possible that we're actually seeing a change? Let's go to March, 20,000 Bitcoin, 150 Bitcoin, let's say 100 Bitcoin. If we do more, it becomes a lot. 150 Bitcoin, 21 trades, and that's what we have. Look, we have a gamma short here, and from this point we're starting to incur losses, but we do have a gamma short. At 89,000, that is, from 89,000, you can see that the red curve has sharply gone into loss. So here too, there's a ceiling where call options have been sold by the traders. So you see, at the end of February, actually the beginning of March, or maybe in March we can expect that is, this movement that started here could continue. It could reach a ceiling in these areas, and then we might see a reversal downward again. Because here, our maximum profit point is at 55, and we have a gamma short at 47. That is, the puts that were sold at 47 and saw the bottom here, if we want to, let's take a look at the strategies. You see, here we have several high volume positions. We have 1,000 Bitcoins. Short put at 55. Here too, you see, for the month of March, 55 has been seen as the bottom. And again here, look, we have two short call positions of 1,000 Bitcoins each at 90,000. This is another interesting point. You see, this has a bullish outlook. This ceiling at 90,000 is noted, and we have 1,400 Bitcoins short call at 96,000. These are actually bullish positions that were opened on February 10th, and the interesting point is, for March, on February 13th, which is today, 250 Bitcoin long calls at 95,000 have been opened. You see, the bullish outlook was there yesterday. Today, it has improved and strengthened, and that's an important point. So we're also seeing a bearish outlook, a bearish view. At the start of the week, we're heading toward 55, even toward 50. We're seeing a bullish outlook toward 80 and 90, a bullish view, but the more recent one is shown in pink. That's for today's and yesterday's trades. So it seems like we might be able to see a rebound given how sharply we've dropped. And with the oversold condition we're seeing in the daily RSI, we might get a bounce back toward 85. Now after that, we'll probably need to review the trades again because there's a chance that we might see another move back down. So if we want to come up with a strategy here, look, these are the options. This one and this one, well, a long straddle that's currently at its minimum loss point. This middle one, above 78, it's in profit, below 58, it's in profit. All right, here it is. We have this one too, which is also a long straddle, and its numbers are the same. So basically, we don't have any other strategy. So for the end of March, based on our gamma, we can go up to 88, 88, 98. You see, this is where the red curve drops sharply. We could even see a ceiling up to here, but all right, we also have a gamma short here. Look, the peak profit is around 55. So it's possible that we might see a reversal from there back down again. Thank you for your attention. I hope this was helpful, and until the next analysis, goodbye.